welcome to Woodshed Reviews, where we look at films old and new, good and bad. On today's show, we're looking at the cult 1984 Walter Hill film, Streets of Fire, A Rock Roll Fable.
Well, I hadn't seen this film. It passed me by somehow. I'm a relatively big Walter Hill fan, so I thought I must check this one out. And I was pleasantly surprised how much I loved it. It made me nostalgic for the 80s in a good way.
And nostalgic for the 50s and the 30s,
Yeah.
the 1910s maybe.
Looks like it's going to be a full house tonight.
Hey, what do you say we run and check out the show?
Not much of a surprise that it passed you by, I guess, because when I said it's a cult film, that usually means it bombed at the time of the release.
Yeah.
It's found its audience 20, 30, 40 years later.
That's right. It was a big flop at the time.
Yeah.
I think it was quite a competitive year, 1984.
Sure, yeah, 'cause we've got Rick Moranis in this one in a very early role.
I never should have let myself get talked into this dumb benefit. I could be making some real money tonight. All right, let's get this thing started.
And he would go on to a much bigger fame in a different film from 1984 with Ghostbusters, obviously.
Okay, who brought the dog?
So it was a flop on the back of Walter Hill. It had some success with Warriors. That would probably be his most famous film.
Everybody packed?
Yeah.
48 Hours, an early film for Eddie Murphy. He'd done before that. That had been a big success, so I think that had bankrolled a bit of the way for Streets of Fire.
Oh, you guys really know how to come through a door.
He was influenced by, his teenage years, what he loved as a teenager, the fantasy and the dialogue.
Yeah, definitely. It's I can understand that maybe it didn't hit if you didn't get the right market with your audience for this film. It maybe fall on deaf ears a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I would have liked it back in the day, but it flew under the radar as it did. So, but yeah, it's had a bit of a, like we say, a bit of a cult following now, and for good reason, I think.
The band's headed up by Ellen Aim, played by Diane Lane.
Yeah.
It feels like a concert film at the start, because we are treated to a number written by Jim Steinman.
Yeah, well, and if you didn't know it was written by Jim Steinman, you certainly would by the time the song gets going. It's got his mark all over it. And it's not a music. The film's not a musical, we should say, but it gets about as close to being a musical, I suppose, as you can.
Yeah.
People are not singing their emotions and their feelings at each other, but there's a lot of music in it, shall we say?
Definitely. So it's a cracking number to begin with, and to end the film with as well. There's another Jim Steinman track. So already it's a great film. It doesn't really matter what happens in between. We've got a great film.
Yeah, I mean, the music is not my cup of tea, but when you hear it, you're like, that could have easily been a big Jim Steinman hit, I think.
Yeah, you can imagine, I think, Meatloaf singing the opening and Bonnie Tyler closing it.
Yeah, sure. Parts of the songs do feel like they're going to go into Eclipse of the Heart or maybe Battle of Hell or something like that,
Going anywhere, it's gotta be heaven. Like us staying here, it's gotta be hell.
So it's a big concert. Ellen Aim, I think, she's from the Richmond originally. She's found success. She's slightly bigger than the venue that she's playing at, but she's doing it for her home crowd.
Yeah. So it's a packed audience, and they're loving it. During her performance, we see some bad guys arrive. The leader is played by William Dafoe as Raven.
Raven, another early role. So there's a lot of early roles going on in this film.
And he watches the performance for a while.
They rush the stage. And they kidnap Ellen.
Rugby tackle her.
Yeah. And also Bill Paxton is in the audience. He's got a small part in this as well. And that kind of sets up the story. It turns out that Ellen's boyfriend from back in the day, pre-fame days, is Cody.
Played by Michael Paré.
His sister calls him into town because she thinks he can sort out this issue, rescue her, get her back. Reluctantly.
He's got a chip on his shoulder, but I think everybody does in this.
Possibly.
Nobody speaks nicely to each other.
No, yeah, the dialogue's all very kind of sarky, quippy, comic book kind of style sort of stuff.
She's not just your old
Oh,
girlfriend.
Reva, what do you want from me, huh?
You know what I want.
You want me to go rescue an old girlfriend who's shacked up with another guy? Thanks a lot.
Yeah, he's kind of playing it cool. He's like, she's just an ex-girlfriend. I don't care about her. Yeah. And obviously, if you've got an ex-girlfriend you don't care about, you carry their photo around in your wallet.
Of course, yeah. But her current boyfriend is Billy Fish, played by Rick Moranis.
Yeah, this is a fable.
Look, Cody, you sound pretty dumb, but nobody's that dumb. I'm the one paying you. That means you go get her, I wait here, and you bring her back to me.
It's maybe a relationship of convenience, perhaps.
Yeah, he's not very likable.
No, he's definitely playing against type, or against the type that he would sort of become.
Sure, because not used to seeing him in a kind of serious role as well.
And being a bit of not a bad guy, but not a nice guy.
Yeah, he wasn't allowed to improvise in this, so there wasn't really many laughs from him.
Yeah, he plays a sort of money-grubbing manager who's dating Ellen, and he's not very happy about the situation, playing in these crummy venues as he would see it. She's bigger things and whatnot. And that's kind of borne out because of what happens, I guess. He maybe had a point, you know. She's kidnapped, taken away, and at this point, Cody has come onto the scene. He does have a soft spot for his old flame.
Yeah, because it didn't really end on good terms by what we hear. I think he just vanished by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I think when she became famous and was going on the road and stuff, it was like the music was first, he was second. So he was
That's right. He didn't want to carry her stuff.
Yeah, basically. So what a supportive man Cody is. Yeah, so that's the kind of basic premise. It's kind of rescue the girl and take on the bad guy.
Yeah.
Classic fairy tale kind of stuff, I suppose.
Yeah, doesn't go the way you expect in some ways.
No, she's rescued early-ish.
Quite early on, yeah.
Early on, you kind of thought that was going to be more of a thing, maybe.
Yeah, why was she kidnapped?
Yeah, there's maybe.
I think Raven does say he wanted to keep her for 2 weeks to make her fall in love with him.
You act nice, you and me fall in love for a week or two, and then I let you go. Nobody gets hurt. You see, I ain't such a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can kind of glean from it is that he sees her as a sort of trophy, someone to conquer. She's obviously famous, she's very pretty, and all that kind of stuff. He probably goes around doing this with other women.
Probably. It's Helen of Troy sort of figure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's not much more to it than that in terms of Raven's motivation, because first time I watched it, you kind of think, is there going to be some sort of reveal or some sort of facet that we don't know about, but no, it's just he liked the look of her. He got his goons to go and get her, and he took her back to his club,
Torchy,
yeah. And so there's a rescue operation goes on.
So Cody, he gets together with a wisecracking sidekick in the form of McCoy, played by Amy Madigan.
Yeah,
the part was originally supposed to be a bloke, like a big Mexican guy.
Okay.
And she was reading for Cody's sister, but she said, no, I want to play this role.
Okay.
And that was cool.
I need the job. I'm plenty good enough and I ain't gonna let you down.
Listen, Skirt, let me make it simple for you. Take a hike.
She wasn't the female sidekick, then the girls in the film would have been quite weak.
Yeah, I mean, even Diane Lane, I think, doesn't get a lot to do in it. So, yeah, I think that was probably quite a wise move. And they very clearly make it out that there's not going to be any love interest between Cody and McCoy.
You got a spare bed?
You want a quick tumble, huh?
You may have a rough time with this one, and I don't want to hurt your feelings, but, you're not my type.
I kind of read that to be that she was maybe gay, but then she says something later on, she has had boyfriends, and so I'm not really sure what.
It's just figuring things out.
Yeah, fair enough. But that resonates throughout it. There's no sort of, well, they won't they with them. It's more between Cody and Ellen.
Yeah. So McCoy's quite a cool character. She holds her own very well. And she's also an ex-soldier, similar to Cody.
Yeah, they're talking about the war. They don't mention what war it is, and this is a kind of timeless kind of place, I suppose. So
yeah,
it feels like at one point he feels like he might have come from World War II or something like that with his dress sense. she looks almost like a Victorian kind of urchin or some street urchin or something.
Yeah.
It's all this kind of, and there's lots of 1950s cars and neon and all this kind of stuff splashed around.
It's very loosely connected to reality. It makes it obvious it's a fantasy world.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And yeah, and obviously there's the 1980s kind of stylings and music and stuff like that. I mean, the music is pure 80s. The songs, soundtrack by Ry Cooder, bit westerny.
Yeah, definitely had a western feel to it as well.
Looks like I finally ran into someone that likes to play as rough as I do. Yeah, this must be your lucky night.
Yeah, I mean, it's got that. The stranger comes into town. He's an anti-hero because he's got a bit of a dark past. He's not completely the total good guy or anything like that, even as the film progresses.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that it was quite big. It did well in Japan.
Okay.
I think like they like this. They likened it to being like the samurai sort of story. I think.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty to enjoy in this, especially the visuals. I think the sets.
Production is amazing.
Yeah. I mean the shots and the way they're cut together. And the transitions between shots, that kind of very grungy transition they do, it feels very modern.
Or there's ones that they use a lot of black, kind of to space out sort of scenes and stuff. And just there's little touches, like when the first song's going on, sort of like the cut to the motorcycle gang arriving. And there's just little touches where they've like overdubbed the guitar to give like the engine sound or something like that. It's just like, yeah, it's nice little touches like that, you know, that show this is a director who obviously cares about the craft. And it's very kind of kinetic as well, particularly at the start. It feels very modern. It feels very, comic book or something like that, you know. And the dialogue and the characters all kind of fit into that well.
Yeah, because you could easily say this script's really bad.
Bits of it definitely kind of veer onto that,
Yeah.
And I can understand someone might kind of feel that, but
it works in this world, I think.
I think that's the thing. It is kind of like, this is not a realistic world.
Yeah.
This is a comic book fantasy kind of world. So people talk in this way. And Michael Parry's kind of characterization is probably quite one-dimensional, I would say, his delivery of lines and stuff.
You're the one that took off and joined the army.
Let's forget all this. It's history. From now on, I'm just like you. I do what I'm good at, and I do it for money.
I think, as we're sort of saying, a lot of the characters are quite like, the archetypical kind of the gruff-talking good guy, the wisecracking sidekick.
Yeah.
Damsel in distress. It's all just kind of classic archetypes and that kind of stuff. And if you accept it on those grounds, I suppose, then you're going to have, I think you'll have a good time.
Definitely. And despite all the action, explosions, people waving guns about, nobody gets killed in this.
That's true, yeah.
So that's quite cool in a way. You can definitely feel it's targeted at a younger audience or a wide audience.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that because it's got a kind of grungy, kind of dark kind of look to it, but then it's splashed about with neon, big, bombastic, stadium rock songs, good-looking guys and gals, all that kind of stuff.
There's nobody over the age of 30 in this either.
Yeah, probably not.
I want to nail that son of a bitch's head to the sidewalk under that marquee that says Ellen Aim on it.
So Willem Dafoe, not a huge part in it, but a memorable part.
He's always quite memorable, William Dafoe.
Sure, yeah,
playing another bad guy.
Fair enough. Some questionable dress sense with that. One of those like leather waders or something he's wearing. But aside from that, there's a lot of great costumes in it as well. The sort of street scenes, you've got a right mix of sort of things going on, as the rest of the film. I'd say maybe there's a character who comes into it about halfway through in the street scene where she kind of befriends, she tags along with.
Oh, that's like a super fan.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. Hey, sorry, where you guys going?
We're nobody. We're going nowhere.
Nobody goes nowhere.
Look, knock it off. We're not interested in conversation, okay, moron?
And I kept thinking, okay, there's got to be some sort of reveal with her. She's maybe working with the bad guys and nothing happens with her. And I'm like, I don't know why she's in it.
Yeah, she has one kind of big scene with Ellen, like a dialogue scene where she asks about writing songs.
Yeah.
And I think it's just put in there for character depth for Ellen.
For Ellen. She could have had that conversation with anyone, I suppose.
And I think she only turns up another time. She's just hanging about her apartment.
Yeah, because Tom Cody comes in and goes, what the hell are you still doing here? And I'm like, yeah, what are you still doing here?
What the hell are you still doing here?
Hey, look, I'll see you guys later, all right?
It doesn't feel like Walter Hill would write someone into that like that and not have a purpose. Even like, you know, we're saying Rick Moranis is a sort of unlikable bad guy. He does kind of redeem himself at the end, and him and Cody, although they've been fighting over Ellen, you know, because ex-boyfriend and current boyfriend, they kind of like sort of see eye to eye, I suppose, at the end, and kind of respect each other and go, yeah, you've got your smarts, you've got your, you know, your muscle and all that.
They're deciding between themselves who should get Ellen.
Yeah, that might be that. She doesn't get a choice in the matter.
And she needs me, but she loves you. She'll get over it. She's used to me being unreliable.
And also, I think we need to probably note that Cody does nearly break her jaw.
This is not the Bayside.
There's something back in Richmond I gotta take care of.
What are you talking about?
You get as far from here as you can.
But he's going to go back to take care of Raven.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want her to come along.
Yeah.
So instead of just...
There's 101 other ways you could have done this.
Yeah, he decides to sock her one, knock her out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to look back on films and go, oh, that's problematic, but yeah, it's a little bit. Breaking a young girl's jaw, because she's quite young in this film.
Diane Lane was, I think, 18 when she took on this role, and she's very convincing in it. Because I think Walter Hill was worried because the role was written for like a 28-year-old.
Yeah, that would make more sense. But she's got an older kind of gravitas to her.
Yeah.
I was surprised that she was that young when you see it, because she does seem a bit more mature.
Yeah, she seems like a seasoned performer.
And I guess she probably even was at that point.
Yeah.
She'd done, you know, although she was young, she'd done a lot of work, theatre work, I think, in that beforehand, was it?
Nice, huh?
Cody and Raven have a one-on-one fight with pickaxes.
You know, it's done in proper sets with lots of background extras going on and stuff like that. Proper kind of, you know, making use of the area and filming it nicely, and you know, it's not just in a studio set with blue screen and that kind of stuff.
This is the kind of thing Walter Hill does well, these kind of set pieces, and they even returned to another axe fight, a fire axe fight in Bullet to the Head with Sylvester Stallone and Jason Momoa.
I haven't seen that.
It's worth checking out.
Will we drop into the mix that there was an unofficial sequel?
Well, maybe even before that, this was supposed to be the first part of a trilogy.
Yeah.
And because it flopped,
that was that.
That was that. Which is a shame, because it would have lent itself quite well to a trilogy.
Sure.
Another two films with the sort of style would have been nice. Would have enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Albert Pyun took it upon himself to make an unofficial sequel.
In 2008.
I bet you chicks got a lot of skills, but not enough muscle.
Well, I bet you got enough muscle for the both of us.
I've made it through about half an hour of the film, and yeah, I don't know if I'm going to watch the rest of it, but you can maybe tell me does it get any better?
It doesn't have the charm of the original. It's grim and perverse.
It makes Tom Cody's character like a complete vicious psychopath.
Yeah, he's even more psychotic. Whereas in the original,
there's a charm to it.
He's got a few issues, maybe.
Yeah, he's a rogue, but he's, you know, you can understand why people gravitate towards him and stuff. Road to Hell looks like it was made for, I don't know, they probably spent more on Willem Dafoe's hair gel than they did on Road to Hell, I think. So.
Yeah, it's always a very low budget indie production. I mean, I admire Albert Pyun's spirit. Sadly, he's not with us anymore, but
right.
His work was always interesting on some sort of level. But yeah, he's probably the wrong person to do a sequel to.
Yeah,
Fire.
It's wrong on all counts. I think best avoided. I think they've always hoping for a proper sequel.
Really?
I think Michael Parry. I saw an interview with him. He's still kind of hoping that it'll happen. But
well, they're doing another Karate Kid film.
Right. Okay.
Out next year, so
you never know. I can't see them doing it to the level that it would need to be done. You know, they've talked about a musical as well, an actual musical.
Okay, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I could see that, but I don't know how much of a audience that would have.
I'd be there.
Okay, so will we rate Streets of Fire a rock and roll fable?
I'm swithing between 3.5 and 4.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I think I'm gonna I'm gonna give it a 4. But it's probably possibly it's a 3.5. But I mean, there's such great production in it. There's such a lot of like attention to detail. There's a lot of fun in it, and if you just kind of, it's not a dumb film, but you have to kind of like, you're not going into it like expecting Shakespearean dialogue or anything like that.
No.
If you set your expectations to that, enjoy the music, enjoy the performances. As I said, the sets and everything like that, the costumes, the editing, all that kind of stuff is all on par. Probably overall, it's probably a 3.5, but I don't know. I mean, I'll go for a 4 on this occasion. I'm feeling in a good mood this morning, so.
Yeah, I can't let you go higher than me, so I'm going for a 4 as well.
Fair enough. Well, you bought the soundtrack and everything, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been playing that non-stop in the car since I've watched this film, so.
Cool. Right, so that's our review of Streets of Fire, A Rock and Roll Fable. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know if you agreed with us, and we'll see you at the next show.
See ya.